Welcome to my tutorial for how to make Mingw 64 bits and also how to compile and build glue libraries from source. So basically what we're going to do is firstly we're going to download Mingw. So just head on over to the website for Mingw. You'll see we actually have two options when we go to downloads, which we can use. There's more options we can use, but we'll probably what you're trying to build with just Windows, simple command prompt type tools which allow you to compile C and C++ with GCC, etc. We'll just stick with either Mingw builds or Win builds. I'm going to show a tutorial for how to do the Mingw builds. Same thing really pretty much applies with Win builds, but just for now I'll just be showing this one, which is probably sufficient for most things you want to run. So head on over to that, go to SourceForge, and it'll automatically download our executable as soon as it does. Come on. Alright, so it's going to start. It started. Once it completes downloading for you, because I've already got it downloaded, so I'm not going to be downloading it twice. Open it to run it. Right. Just go for the setup. Version 6.2 architecture. Obviously, if you want it for 64-bit, you're gonna have to choose the x86-64. Threads is if you want to do multi-threaded programming, right? Where you want to run different threads on your CPU. So if you have a CPU with multiple thread abilities, you'll be doing programming that can use separate threads for separate parts of your program. So you can choose whether you want to use the POSIX one, which is one that's Linux, it's portable amongst many systems, or you can, if you plan to just use the Windows API for threads, then just choose Windows 32. If you don't plan to use either, just leave it as it was before. Just leave it on POSIX, or if it was Windows 32, whatever it came up before. I'll be probably using POSIX, so I'm going to leave it as POSIX for myself. Leave the rest as is. Next, you choose where you want to install it. Mine will be going to program files, Mingw, etc. I've already actually installed, so I'm just showing you how to do it. Right, so that goes next. That downloads all the files and installs it. I'm going to cancel it because I've already got it. There's no reason to wait for it. Right, I've actually installed mine to local C MW64. Now here's all my binaries. Here's all my library files, include files, etc. Next thing you need to actually do is actually you need to adjust your environmental. Edit your environmental system environment variables. You just add that path to your system environment. Go to path, edit, Windows 10. Normally you just do new and you add your destination where your binaries are, which you want to be executing in command prompt here, so we can execute them here. Right, that's mine. That's where I've added mine. It also matters where you actually put it in the list here. As you can see, you can move it up and down. Right, so let's just say you happen to have two installations of this. One is Mingw 32-bit and second is Mingw 64-bit. Right, what's going to happen is if you type in, for example, GCC, it's going to be looking firstly, if you've got, for example, Mingw 30, it's going to look first at Mingw 32 for that binary executable, and it's going to run that. So if you want the order to be so that it first looks for your Mingw 64-bit version of binaries, then obviously add that in there and put it at the top. If you've got something that runs purely for 32-bit, then obviously put the 32-bit under that one, so it'll be the second one or whatever. Once that's done, okay, apply. Obviously it's not going to be there for me because I haven't actually changed anything. Okay, now we've got it, and I just showed you that we can actually use it. So we have GCC. Also make sure that you haven't actually opened command prompt before you've added the system path variables, because if you did that before, when you run it now and you've already got this open before you after you've done it, it won't actually register, so you get no results. So make sure that after you've actually added that to your system path variables, then you run command prompt, it should work. Also, you can check where your actual binaries are running from. So if I see where GCC, it's going to show you that it's running from MW64, 64-bit, etc., which is where we want it to be running from. Okay, next thing quickly is to compile glue. I'm just going to be using, you know, as I've got this, as I put in the link, just a quick way of doing this. This is actually based on the Mingw W32 installation. So there's going to be a few changes we're going to have to make. Like here, we're going to have to change this to point to the library of Mingw W64, right? Anyway, so firstly, you obviously download Glew. Now, I suggest that you actually download the 1.13 version at this point in time. You can download the 2.0. It's going to have to be the zip file right there, right? Glew 1.130 zip. Download that. Once that's downloaded, I already got it. I'm not going to download it twice. Just what you're going to do is just unzip it and just paste it somewhere you can access it from command prompt. You know, it's easy to access, like on desktop, for example. If I just go cd desktop cd glew 1.13 cd glew free, it's there, right? So I can access everything there. So yeah, what I was going to say before was just for now I use Glew 1.13 because there's a few errors with Glew 2.0, a few bugs that I had to fix up. And you can compile for that, but I'm just going to show you a pretty much straightforward version without having to deal with all the little issues that exist. The next thing we need to do is following the instructions on here, which I'll put, as I said, into the below the video. Right, what we're going to do is firstly, once we've actually did into DIR'd into our Glew folders, right? So we have to. So when we write source glew.o and source, sorry, when we compiling source.glew.c, it should be in our source directory. So make sure that you're in the directory where there's a source directory when you type in this. So I copy and paste that, right? That runs and completes. Right. Next thing is this. Oops. Copy that. Now, like I said, we have to make some changes here. So we have to go here to where it says we're linking to our folders to look for the library files. We're just going to change this to the one that I'm currently using, which is going to be MW64, MW64, whatever you've put it, right? So mine is going to be MW64 /MW64, and you can look for the library file. But I'm just going to leave it actually as just MW64 because I wanted to search also in this directory for anything that might be missing in the library file of this 64-bit. This is actually the 32-bit bins and libraries, right? I wanted to search for this as well in case it needs something which isn't in here. Right. Anyway, so that's done. Press enter. That's done. And finally, we do the archive. We run the archive commands. And that's it. We're done. All right. So now what we should have had as output, right, is we're gonna have a few files to just move around. All right. So here we built glew.out, right, and then we built our DLL file, which is that libglew32.dll, and it's going to be in lib, and then we also built this one as a libglew32.dll.a, and we also built libglew32.dll, right? So we're just going to move those around and put them in the right places so that we can actually use them. So back to our glue folder, as we said, it's in lib library. There's that. Just copy that or cut it, whatever you want to do. Right. Go to C. Go to Windows. Go to System. 32. Because look, Glew is a 32-bit library. It's not a 64-bit library. So we are putting it in System 32 and paste. And I'm not going to be replacing one because it's already there. All right. That's the first thing you do. Second, take these. Where is it? It's the wrong one. back to our C, sorry, desktop there, lib, these two, copy them. Now, if you've got more than one installation of Mingw, right, whether it's going to be 64-bit and 32-bit, you might want to put them in both, right? So I can put it here in this library file here, paste in here, right? Put those in there. But if I also happen to have Mingw, the 32-bit version, I can also put it in here. As you can see, I've already got it in here. Where is it? glew32, the glew32.a, right? So I put them in both in case I'm, if I maybe happen to change my environmental variables around, then I want to be able to actually compile with just a 32-bit version of Mingw. Now the other thing I was showing, back to the Mingw 64-bit website, is, well, anyway, just before I finish with Glue and just explain. That's everything you pretty much have to do. As I said, you've created those library files, right, and you've put it into the places where you can use them. You put them into the library folder of Mingw, and you put it into the System32 folder. So now you should be able to actually compile with them, right? And the other thing that I was going to show was if I used WinBuilds, right? I've already got that installed as well. That's actually, I think, this one. So that's just another installation. It's the same thing pretty much, right? So there's no difference except it's got extra commands that come sort of with it. As you can see, there's a full list of if you want them, if you need them. If you're just simply building C++ programs, then you probably don't need a lot of this stuff, just basic things. Yeah. Otherwise, you can install it. It's pretty much the same process, just a different. You'll see when you run the executable, it has a little bit different setup, but you just pretty much run install, choose your location and whatever. And after that, you can do the same thing with Glue, as I've just done, right? And put it into the various folders, and then you should be able to use it. One other thing I wanted to show you, mention is, as you can see, if you want, for example, we didn't build the package config file. You don't need to. We just wanted a library file, which is a .a and a .dll, and the glew32 file. But if you want to run all the other stuff, you can also run these other commands, although I think some of these might not work with Mingw, but you don't need them anyway. So that's basically it, and now you should have Glue. You should be able to link to Glue and use it in your programming if you need it. Alright, thanks for watching. Cheers, bye.